Israel's battlefield losses come into focus as Iran unveils new weapon systems ahead of possible renewed conflict. Will Israel sit out a second round of war with Iran, as reports point to severe damage at key military sites? Blurred images showing damaged facilities fuel speculation that Israeli authorities are limiting visibility of battlefield losses. Iran and Hezbollah claim past strikes reduced key IDF positions to rubble and warn they can do it again. Tehran warns that newer, previously untested weapons are now ready for deployment against future targets. Satellite imagery has reportedly raised questions about possible damage at several Israeli military facilities following Iranian and Hezbollah strikes during the recent conflict. Analysis has reportedly revealed possible damage to multiple Israeli military sites following strikes launched by Iran and Hezbollah during the conflict. Imagery analyzed by SAW reportedly showed signs of damage across several military-linked facilities in the occupied territories. Israeli newspaper Yedioth Ahronoth published the findings using low-resolution satellite imagery cleared through military censorship procedures. Some analysts questioned the degraded image quality and asked whether the full extent of damage at the sites was being withheld from public view. Sentinel-2 satellite images reportedly showed two separate impact zones at Ramat David Air Base in northern Israel. One strike appeared to target support vehicles, while another impact zone was reportedly located near a refueling area used for fighter aircraft. Satellite analysis also suggested a possible strike near Israel's Unit 8200 intelligence facility close to Safed. SAW stated that imagery indicated the strike may have occurred sometime between March 5 and March 10. Additional satellite images reportedly showed signs of damage inside Nevatim Air Base, considered one of Israel's most sensitive Air Force facilities. Satellite footage also detected a major fire at Camp Shimshon beginning on March 10. The fire reportedly broke out on the same day Hezbollah announced a drone swarm attack targeting the site. According to the analysis, the fire spread across nearly 200 meters inside the base and continued burning for several days afterward. Comparisons with imagery from 2016, 2024, and 2025 reportedly showed the affected area had been used for military vehicles and logistics operations. Analysts added that the burn patterns did not resemble a typical vegetation fire, suggesting the possibility of a direct strike within the base perimeter. Reports said Iran launched around 670 missiles and 765 drones toward Israel during the broader conflict period. The revelations emerged as the United States and Iran moved closer toward a possible agreement following the ceasefire that began on April 8. As tensions continue to rise between the United States and Iran, reports indicate that a so-called final draft agreement has now been published, outlining possible terms between the two long-standing rivals. Saudi-based news outlet Al Arabiya has claimed that it obtained what it describes as the final draft of a potential agreement between Washington and Tehran, though the authenticity of the document has not been independently verified. The reported draft is said to have been facilitated through mediation efforts by Pakistan, as tensions between the United States and Iran continue to intensify across multiple regional flashpoints. According to the report, the draft agreement primarily focuses on establishing ceasefire conditions, offering potential sanctions relief, and promoting broader regional stability between the two adversaries. The document is said to include provisions calling for a complete halt to military operations on all sides, along with an end to what it describes as an escalating media and information war. Another reported clause emphasizes respect for Iran's sovereignty, while also calling for strict non-interference in the country's internal political and domestic affairs by external actors. The agreement also reportedly seeks to guarantee freedom of navigation across key maritime routes, including the Persian Gulf and the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. The draft reportedly calls for an immediate, comprehensive, and unconditional ceasefire across all domains of conflict, including land, sea, and air operations without exception. Both sides are said to agree under the draft not to target any military installations, civilian populations, or critical economic infrastructure during the period of de-escalation. The proposed terms also include a complete end to active military operations, alongside a simultaneous halt to what is described as an ongoing media and propaganda war. The agreement emphasizes mutual commitments to respect sovereignty, territorial integrity, and a strict policy of non-interference in each other's internal affairs. It also includes guarantees ensuring freedom of navigation across key waterways such as the Arabian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Gulf of Oman. A joint monitoring mechanism is reportedly proposed to oversee implementation of the agreement and to resolve any disputes that may arise between the parties. The draft suggests that negotiations on unresolved or outstanding issues would begin within 7 days of the agreement being put into effect. It also outlines a phased approach to lifting US sanctions, conditional on Iran's continued compliance with the agreed terms. The document is said to reaffirm both parties' commitment to international law and the principles outlined in the United Nations Charter. Once formally announced by both Washington and Tehran, the agreement would reportedly take effect immediately without further delay. The report further states that negotiations addressing remaining or outstanding issues between the two sides are expected to begin within 7 days of the initial agreement framework. Under the reported framework, the United States would begin a gradual process of lifting sanctions, provided that Iran fully adheres to the terms outlined in the agreement. However, the draft reportedly does not contain any explicit references to Iran's nuclear program or its missile capabilities, raising questions about the scope of the proposed deal. According to reporting cited by the Times of Israel, there is no clause in the document addressing Iran's stockpile of uranium enriched to 60% levels. The reported draft also appears to omit any restrictions or limitations on Iran's ballistic missile program, despite its significance in previous negotiations. Additionally, the leaked document reportedly makes no reference to Iran's support for regional proxy groups, which has long been a central concern for US policymakers. Al Arabiya also reports that the agreement could potentially be announced within hours, although it is still described as pending final approval from both sides. If finalized, the deal is expected to come into force immediately once it is formally and jointly announced by both the United States and Iran. As of now, neither Washington nor Tehran has made any official public announcement confirming the existence or finalization of such an agreement.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.